Good day, students. On this paper, we're going to be going over two examples on how to find the exact value of trig functions. So before we start, let's go over some of our trig identities, okay? Using SOHCAHTOA, and then we'll go on after that. So we have SOHCAHTOA, for right angle trigonometry. So what does SOHCAHTOA mean? Well, we know that sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse. So always opposite, the h is hypotenuse. Cosine theta is adjacent over hypotenuse. And tan theta is opposite over adjacent. Okay? Alright, so these trig functions also have reciprocal identities or reciprocal trig functions. So if I reciprocate sine, I get cosecant, right? So what is cosecant theta? Cosecant theta is 1 over sine theta, which basically means I'll reciprocate this ratio right here to get hypotenuse over opposite. Okay? And if I reciprocate cosine, the reciprocal identity of cosine is secant. So secant theta is 1 over cosine theta. So if I reciprocate this ratio right here, I'll get what secant is, which is hypotenuse over adjacent. Okay? And then if I reciprocate tan, I get cotangent. Cotangent theta is 1 over tan theta. So if I reciprocate opposite of adjacent, I'll get what cotangent is, which is adjacent over opposite. Okay? So these are the 6 trig ratios that are needed for doing the examples we're going to do today. Actually, we're going to just use only 2 of them. Okay? So with that in mind, let's write down the instructions for questions 1 and 2. So the instructions are as follows. Find the exact value of the given trig functions, of the given trig function. Okay? Alright, so the first one we're going to look at, number 1, is sine theta. Let's say we have a right triangle with the following orientation. So go ahead and sketch this right triangle. 2 angles are indicated here, the reference angle theta and the right angle 90 degrees. Okay? This is 3 and this is 4. So the goal is to find sine theta. Alright, so what is sine theta? To find sine theta, let's call up the formula SOHCAHTOA. It's going to help me determine the right combination of sides to find what sine of the angle is. So sine. So we're going to be using SO in this case, okay? So sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse. Alright, so let's identify our opposite and hypotenuse in this triangle and then set up a ratio, okay? So that's the reference angle. So the side opposite the reference angle is known as your opposite, okay, for O. And the side opposite the 90 degrees, the longest side, is your hypotenuse. And the other side is your adjacent, okay? Alright, so what is sine theta? Sine theta is opposite, which is 3 over hypotenuse. What is hypotenuse? We have no idea, so we need to find it, okay? So how do we find it? Well, we're going to use the trig version of the Pythagorean Theorem, which is a squared plus o squared equals h squared. Okay, remember this is the same thing as a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Alright, so this will help me find out what h is. So a squared is going to be a is 4, so 4 squared. O is 3 plus 3 squared equals h squared. Alright, so 4 squared is 16 plus 3 squared is 9 equals h squared. When you add 16 and 9, you get 25 equals h squared. So to get h by itself, you just root it. Root, and you have the square root of both sides, and then you have h equals 5. Alright, so that's the hypotenuse. So sine theta is 3 over 5. Let's write it nicely. So sine theta equals 3 over 5. Alright, so there you have it. Okay, let's go ahead and try another example. Question 2. Let's say we have a right triangle Oh, actually, in this case, we're gonna find secant theta. Okay, secant theta. All right, so let's go ahead and sketch the triangle and write secant again, so it looks nicer. Um, Secant theta. Let's go ahead and sketch the triangle of the problem. So let's say we have a triangle with the following orientation. Something like this. All right, and where two angles are indicated, the 90-degree angle, the right triangle, and the theta. Okay, and then we're notified that this is 2 root 3. We're given that this is 2 root 3 and this is 2. And we want to find secant theta. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and do it. Now, we know that secant is a reciprocal of cosine, right? So secant theta is 1 over cosine theta. So I'm going to write down SOHCAHTOA to determine what I'm going to use here. So let's write down SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. Cosine is adjacent of a hypotenuse, so the reciprocal is going to be hypotenuse over adjacent, so it's going to be h over a. Okay, so secant theta is h over a. So since secant theta is h over a, that means I'm going to have hypotenuse, which is, well, I don't even know what hypotenuse, adjacent, and all that cool stuff is. So let's go ahead and figure them out. So this is my reference angle right here. So the side opposite the reference angle is your opposite. Okay, don't forget that. The side opposite your 90-degree angle is always the longest side because 90 degrees is the biggest angle. So that's your hypotenuse. And the other side is your adjacent. All right. So secant is hypotenuse over adjacent. I know my adjacent is 2. And my hypotenuse, I have no idea. So how do I figure it out? I'll use the trig ratio a square. Change the color. So I'm going to use the trig ratio a square plus o square equals h square. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and look for h so that we can find out what goes on the top here. So we're going to plug in a is 2, so we have 2 square, oopsie, we have 2 square plus o is 2 root 3, put that in parentheses square, equals h squared. Okay, the goal is to find h. All right, so 2 squared is easy, which is 4. Now what on earth is this? How do you square that? Well, we have to be really careful. We have a radical and an integer and a whole number, so we're going to distribute these 2 into these two types of numbers, okay? So the power goes to the 2 and the root 3, okay? So we're going to have, it's going to become 2 square times root 3 square. So what is 2 square? If I square 2, it's going to become 4 times, when I square root 3 square, because the square and the square roots are inverses, if it cancel out, it becomes 3. Okay, so root 3 squared is 3. Okay, so you're going to square them independently and express them like that. Equals h squared. Okay, and then 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 3 is 12. Equals h squared. 4 plus 3 is 12 is 16. 16 equals h squared. So to get h by itself, I just take the square root of both sides. Root of h squared and root of 16. And then I get h equals 4. Okay? So my hypotenuse in this case is 4. Alright, now let's figure out what secant is. So secant theta is hypotenuse of adjacent. Hypotenuse is 4. So we have 4 over 2. 4 divided by 2 is simply 2. Okay, what we do here is just divide the top and bottom by 2. Okay, divide by 2, divide by 2. Your answer, secant theta is 2. Okay, I'll just write it down here. So secant theta is 2. And that basically is our final answer. Alright, so there you have it. thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please feel free to subscribe to my channel just by clicking up here. More videos can be found on mathserve.com. Thanks again and have a wonderful day.